attention. Don't let the ruthlessness prevail. Oh, it's time now, light your fires for ascension. Like a phoenix, you burst in a fire, burn a thirst and desire. You transform right up in a flash. You spread your wings to rise from the ashes. Phoenix, you burst in a fire, burn a thirst and desire. You transform right up in a flash. You spread your wings to rise from the ashes. Let you down, but you get up. They let you drown, but you don't stop. You show you're a phoenix. Phoenix, you burst in a fire, burn a thirst and desire. You transform right up in a flash. You spread your wings to rise from the ashes. Phoenix, you burst in a fire, burn a thirst and desire. You transform right up in a flash. You spread your wings to rise from the ashes.
The year is 1991. Birds and people are living together in seemingly perfect harmony. Until one day, a young man catches fire. This is Phoenix.
You've been knocked down and got up again. In a corner, you're surrounded, no defenders. You've hid your fury and kept it in. But it's time now, you ignite and turn to embers. Like a phoenix, you burst in a fire, burn a thirst and desire. You transform right up in a flash. You spread your wings to rise from the ashes. Phoenix, you burst in a fire, burn a thirst and desire. You transform right up in a flash. You spread your wings to rise from the ashes.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Game Week 35 KNEEJERK stream. We've only got 4 game weeks left. We may have double game weeks. Let me just say this straight away. Spurs put out a tweet this morning saying that they were in discussions with the Premier League to potentially move their game against Aston Villa in Game Week 37, even though Villa obviously lost in the FA Cup. So Spurs are trying to get the game moved to the Thursday before, I think, possibly the Friday. So there might be a double in Game Week 36. When will we know? Hopefully before the Game Week 35 deadline. So hold your transfers if you can. I'm all out. I've got no players left on Thursday. I've scored 100 points. Very lucky. And I've gone from 125k to 68k. So the top 50k finish is definitely on. But I will drop rank on Thursday because I've got no Chris Wood, no Forest Defence, no Imbermo, no Visser, etc. And there's a lot of popular players still to play on Thursday. So I suspect I'll drop down quite a bit, but can't complain with the 100 points. Liverpool, yes, congratulations. I don't want to talk about Liverpool too much if I'm honest with you, but congratulations. Congratulations to Palace as well. Palace, you need to do me a favour, and that favour is to beat Man City in the FA Cup final. Didn't get 100 because of stupid Cole Palmer, honestly. I put out a tweet yesterday. All the haters on Cole Palmer and how a bad pick he was. Well, guess what? You were correct. He was a really bad pick. And I watched the game and he never really looked like doing much either. So Ben Crennan's just tweeted, Man City versus Bournemouth and Palace versus Wolves will have to move from the weekend of 37 to either the midweek in 36 or the midweek in 37. And the midweek in 37 is more likely. Spurs have requested that Villa versus Spurs be moved from the weekend of 37 to the midweek in 36. And so, yeah. So possible, yeah. And then he's got the possible double game week 36 fixtures. So it sounds like it might just be the Villa Spurs game that gets moved. I'd actually quite like that because Villa are now out of the FA Cup, so they wouldn't be rotating. I've already got Martinez, I've already got Rodgers. And so all of a sudden, Isak to Watkins would become pretty straightforward. I'm a little bit gutted I didn't do Isak to Watkins in 33 for a -4, which I planned. But I couldn't take it because of Rashford. But now Rashford's out injured. Possibly for the rest of the season. So Watkins looks really good now. Saving my free hit and taking a -8 went terribly. The template absolutely smashed it. Yeah. Pretty much. I mean, obviously, it depends exactly who you have, but a lot of the popular players like Newcastle defence, Sessegnon, Luis Diaz, Cunha, all absolutely smashed it. Do you think Man United will request their game to move? No, because they're already playing on the Friday. That's why. After this week, now you can hopefully finish in the top 100k. Hopefully, yeah. I mean, now top 50k is on. It depends how much I drop on Thursday, but let's say I'm top 80k still. Top 50k is on. It'll be difficult, but you never know. You never know. It's not very often a goalkeeper gets onto the thumbnail, but Jose Sarr had to make... I think Jose Sarr has to go on the wall. I think he has to go on the wall because not only has he saved me a penalty, which is huge, he's got the clean sheet, 12 points, but he's also meant that Nuri's got the clean sheet for me, so I've got double Wolves defence. But not only that, players that go on the wall, there's always a story behind it. And so obviously you've got, you know, free hit, Jose Sarr, 2 clean sheets for 2 Wolves players. But also so many people kept going on about Jamie Vardy. He's leaving. He's going to score. He's going to wipe out your clean sheet. And so for Jamie Vardy to be the one that had the penalty save just makes it even better. So Jose Sarr has to go on the wall. There's no debate about it. He will be on the wall next season. Probably not this season. But next season I will definitely sort it out. Unfortunately, the Jamie Vardy party's been cancelled. Do you know what happened to Sertap's team? I actually asked him about 10 minutes ago, and he just said he didn't. I think he said he didn't realise the deadline or something, or just missed the deadline, which really sucks. Also, you called it. I know. So I made the change to Jose Sarr 1 minute and 10 seconds before the deadline. Before that, I think I had Pope and Semedo. And then, yeah, after the deadline, I said, I'm picturing Jose Sarr saving a Vardy penalty, honestly. I wasn't even watching the game. I just saw Ben Crellin tweet. He said Sarr penalty saved. I was like, oh my days. Absolutely ridiculous. When do I go on the wall? I never get on the wall. I felt like the chat made you change Semedo and bring in Sarr. It was more Trippier. It was more wanting Trippier than wanting to get rid of Semedo, if that makes sense. Yeah, the Sessegnon 94th minute goal, absolutely ridiculous. I didn't watch the Man United game, no. I saw they drew 1-0 Hoyland like last minute. Next week, by the way, Evan Nilsson got sent off. I've only seen a really quick replay. I didn't have very good signal where I was during the Man United game, so I haven't seen the Evan Nilsson thing properly. Lots of people saying it was just a slip. So I don't know if it will get overturned. But as it stands, he'd be suspended for 3 games, which, as an Evan Nilsson owner, is really annoying. Because if Man City do end up doubling, Bournemouth would also double. And I'm going to bench Evan Nilsson this week anyway. But it's Villa at home 36 and Leicester at home 38. So ideally, I don't want to have to sell him because I was going to play him in 36. So we'll see. If I can hold him the whole way through, I will. I saw some people saying that it was a slip, so it shouldn't have been a red, because I think it was a yellow card, then got upgraded, right? But then other people saying that it was a slip, but it was still reckless, so it's unlucky, but it's still going to be a red. So we'll have to wait and see. Trent got the assist, laughing emoji. I'll be honest, I've not seen the game at all. I've not seen either of the games today. I was taking my son to football. It was like an hour away, so it was an hour there, hour back, 2 hours there as well. Like an hour to drive there, then 2 hours there, then an hour back. So I've not seen any of the games today. if Evan Nilsson does have a 3-game ban, Utara is going to be a spicy pick. But the problem is, it's not all that interesting, really. Because 2 of the games that Bournemouth have got during this potential suspension would be Arsenal away and City away. And the game you really want him for is Leicester at home, last day of the season. So he wouldn't necessarily get that. Am I worried about being a non-Imbermo owner? Well, for 34, yes, because I'd rather have him than Cole Palmer, right? Because Cole Palmer didn't do anything. But I'm going to buy Palmer in 35. I'm probably going to do Saka to Imbermo, I think. I mean, that's the most obvious move because Saka's probably going to get benched. Like, the league's gone now, mathematically. Arsenal obviously can't win it. So, and then it's Liverpool away in 36. And, like, Liverpool have won the league, so there might be a downturn in how they perform. But they've got nothing else to play for. So, if they're going to be hungover, it's probably going to be for game week 35, not 36. And I think if you're Liverpool, you probably want to show Arsenal why you came first, right? So I think they'll be well up for that game. Maybe I'm just creating a narrative to make it easier to sell Saka, but I don't think it's going to be an easy game for Arsenal at all. And they might also rotate after the 2 Champions League games. And then I'll just wait and see what to do with Evan Nilsson later on. Like, if Evan Nilsson's out for 3 games, then getting Chris Wood for game week 36 seems quite easy to me. Maybe even Visser. He went for the tackle, but he slipped, so he couldn't control the tackle. That's what made it worse. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see if they appeal and what happens. If you still had free hit, would you be tempted to use it in 38? I'd be tempted to use it in 36 if you get a few doublers in there. Otherwise, yeah, possibly 38. I think when you're looking to use a free hit, obviously you want to target a week where you don't already have a lot of good players, or where there's so basically in 38, for example, if you've already got like 2 or 3 Liverpool, well, they're part of the free hit, so it's not so good. But if you've got no Bournemouth, like, you could triple up on Bournemouth game week 38, you could triple up on Liverpool against Palace at home. Like, that's when they're going to get the trophy. There's a few good games in there. Newcastle defence maybe against Everton. Possibly Bowen against Ipswich. Arsenal against Southampton. Try and guess if they're out of the Champions League by then, that could also be quite nice. So yeah, I don't mind 38, but if there's doubles that go into 36, that might be better. Jimenez has been so useless for my team this season. I've had him in 2 games against Southampton. The first one he got benched, came on, got a yellow card, finished on 0 points. This one played the whole... Well, I didn't play the whole game. Did he play the whole game? I can't remember. Yeah, he did, sorry. But still got a yellow card and just finished on 1 point. But to be honest, the only other player that I was really looking at was Welbeck. I was never going to pick Evan Nilsson. I was never going to pick Chris Wood or Visser. So it is what it is. Not every player is going to return for you. If I can be slightly frustrated, which realistically I can't be, I've scored 100 points. All that worry about having Harvey Barnes, will he or won't he start, then he just gets 3 points and that's it. And Jacob Murphy, who more people own, he's the one that gets the assist for the penalty. So that was frustrating that I got nothing against Ipswich from Barnes. But also, if I dropped Barnes for Cliver, he also blanked anyway. But if I'd gone Cliver, I wouldn't have had one of Sessegnon, Trippier or Jose Sarr. So actually, in a roundabout way, having Barnes helped me get those defender points. Because if I dropped Barnes for a Cliver, I would have definitely gone for a second Newcastle defender, and it would not have been Dan Burn. I'm not even going to pretend. Pickford 4, Sessegnon 11, Burn 11. Didn't Burn get 13? 8 Nuri, maybe I'm wrong. 8 Nuri 11, Livramento 6, Semenyo 8, Bowen 9, Diaz 7, Salah 7, Cunha 30, captain, wow. Isak 6, Larson 6, sorry, Leno 2, bench boost. Wow, that's a bench boost, damn. So you bench boost with Bruno, Kirkes, Leno and Larson. So the bench boost wasn't actually that good, but overall you scored 130 points. That is mad. Congratulations. I'd be absolutely enjoying that if that was me. For me, it was Barnes versus Trippier. I just hated the idea of 4-3-3. I think if I'd gone 4-3-3, I would have probably just gone Trent. So I would have had 5 points instead of Barnes' 3. So it's really not the end of the world. I do have 98 points, but there's a bonus point for Salah still to go on. That's why it says 100. I had 3 different players than you and got 25 less points. Ouch. Luke messaged me just before I went live, and he said, you outscored me by 47 points. He got 53. Oh, he didn't free hit, though. Oh, fair enough. That explains it a little bit more, then. What do you think about Saka for De Bruyne? Yes, don't hate it. I think Man City's fixtures are quite good, basically. Team for next week is, I actually think pretty well set. The funny thing is, so many of these players did well in the FA Cup, which is always happens, right? So Munoz clean sheet. Villa didn't score, right? It was 3-0. I think Sarr got 2 or 3 returns. Eze got a goal. Marmoush assisted Vardiol for the corner. So I actually quite like my team. I think it's pretty well set up. So I've got Raya and Saliba double defence against Bournemouth. There might be some rotation, but I don't think for Raya. Probably not for Saliba. Then Munoz against Forest at home. Vardiol against Wolves at home. I've got Sarr and Eze against Forest at home. I'm happy with both of those players. I think the minutes for Palace players are going to be fine for 35 and 36. So I'm not panicking too much. For 37, there might be some rotation. But they've got like a 9-day break from their FA Cup semi-final to when they play Forest at home. Then they've got a 6-day break until game week 36. And then a 6-day break till the final. So I think Eze and Sarr will play both games. And Munoz as well. So I'm quite like them. Salah against Chelsea away. Saka for Bournemouth at home, but I'm probably going to sell to Mbeumo. Then Rodgers Fulham at home. Rodgers is just going to play every game as he always does. Villa have got nothing else to play for now apart from Champions League places. And then Isak Brighton away and Marmoush currently captain against Wolves at home. Captaincy is quite tricky for game week 35. So for me, it's going to be Marmoush versus Wolves at home, Salah versus Chelsea away, or Mbeumo versus Man United at home. That's going to be my 3 options. And I'm kind of... I think a lot of people will go Mbeumo, especially if he does well on Thursday, because he's obviously just got that 18 points. I'm quite tempted to leave it on Marmoush, but I need to wait and see whether Haaland's back in contention and stuff like that. I have seen Ben Crellin's tweet. Yeah, we kind of spoke about it earlier. Basically, hold your transfers this week and see what happens later on. There's obviously European matches this week as well. Yeah, Isak away at Brighton's not brilliant, but it's really not terrible, is it? It's not like the Brighton defence is anything to be scared of. And Isak's a really good player, as we know. Newcastle are a really good team. So I don't think there's too much of an issue having him. I mean, I'd rather have Watkins and have bought him in 33, but I didn't do that, so... Who is saving a penalty this week? Hopefully David Raya against Kluivert, because I don't own Kluivert. You think Saka starts against Bournemouth? He could do. It's hard to know, really. I think it's more likely that he doesn't. But I wouldn't completely rule out a start. Liverpool in vacation mode, selling Salah an option. I just... If they were in Europe, yes. Because I think there'd be mass rotation every game if they were in Europe. Because why wouldn't you? They've got nothing else to play for. I think Salah will just keep playing good minutes for the most part. I've not learnt my lesson. De Bruyne is captain again. I don't mind that if you think he starts, which he probably will. My only regret was Pickford instead of Sarr. You can't win them all. You can't win them all. Vacation mode just smashed Spurs. Yeah, but they weren't on vacation, right? They needed to win the league. They've won the league now. Bring Jamie Vardy in for penalty redemption. I mean, Leicester do have some good fixtures soon. Is it this week or next week? Yeah, they've got Southampton at home this week. And I think in game week 37, they've also got Ipswich at home. Yeah. I don't hate the Jamie Vardy pick, honestly. Like, if I was desperate to get rid of Evan Nielsen this week, then Evan Nielsen to Vardy is not terrible. Why not sell Evan Nielsen to Chris Wood? I don't think I've got any money in the bank, by the way. Yeah, I've only got 0.2 million. So the move would probably be Saka to Mbeumo this week. That would free up the money, but I've only got 1 transfer. And then I would do potentially Evan Nielsen to Chris Wood for Leicester at home in 36. I'm on 47, just a casual 53 points behind you. I'm sure Mbeumo and Milenkovic can bag me 50. I mean, you never know. Bowen captain against a Spurs side that deserve to be bottom of the league. Yeah, I don't mind it. Don't mind it. Liverpool fan here, but missed it because of a wedding. Oof, that's bad planning, even if it's not your wedding. You panicked to move Sarr to Leno 2 minutes before the deadline. I didn't mind the Leno pick. For a while, I thought Leno was locked in my team. I just got lucky with Sarr. I mean, obviously, right, it's a penalty save. You don't often get them. That's luck in itself. But to get the clean sheet's kind of lucky. I don't know why. I just got very fixated on having double Wolves defence because they were playing Leicester. Basically, that's how I ended up without Leno. And then with Sessegnon, I said it on the deadline show, he's the kind of pick that it feels really hard to turn down. Oh, Christ. It feels really hard to turn down on free hit. But also, we were like a minute or two away from him being a terrible pick, right? So there's always fine margins in these things. Am I not looking to get McNeil? Not really. I don't see me bringing in a Everton attacker anytime soon. You never know, though. Why do people take 25 to 30 hits every game week? I don't think they do. I don't know much about it. Started FPL this season. Can you tell me more about the drawbacks and advantages? People don't take that many hits every week. Or not people that are playing the game properly anyway. You might see some teams do it because they've got like, I don't know, their own competitions or something, or I don't know, they're trying to take the most hits in FPL or something, or chasing price, right? I don't know, but most people don't take that many hits. Maybe like a -4 here or there, -8, -12 if things get really tricky. How do we know if there's going to be double gaming? You wait, and you wait for it to be announced. Like, I really wouldn't be stressing about it right now. If there's going to be doubles in 36, I'd be very surprised if we haven't found out by the Game Week 35 deadline. Even if the news comes out on Friday. Yeah, a lot of those. Yeah, that's right. A lot of those accounts will be trying to win like the highest score for a particular game week and not really caring about everything else. I asked you 10 times why Palmer. Penalties, good minutes, good fixture. That's about it, really. Sometimes players blank. For Palmer, unfortunately, he's blanked a lot. But, Mo Salah's only got like one open play goal in 10 games now. Like, it's not like sometimes players go through a bad spell. And honestly, if I hadn't gone Palmer, I probably would have gone Cliver. He blanked as well. Like, it is what it is. The funny thing is, people keep saying, why'd you keep hold of Palmer? I don't even own Palmer right now. I just put him on free hit. Like, I do not have him in my actual team. I hate when they mention Palmer to you, but I know people are miserable. They always like to focus on the negatives, honestly. It doesn't matter how many points you've got elsewhere. They just keep banging on about Cole Palmer. It's the new Bruno Fernandes. People are just obsessed by it. Early kickoff, Palmer had no chance. Nicholas Jackson did all right, though. Really good finish. I have double City and triple Palace, so should be good for the double. But Palace might not double. Man City might not double, so we'll have to wait and see. Also, just keep in mind, however many players... Like, if there are double game weeks, however many players you've got doubling, they will then blank in 37. So if you've got, like, 7 players doubling in 36, that sounds great until you realise you've got 7 players blanking in 37. But in that case, it's just hits, right? Will I attack double game week 36 and take hits in 37? Probably. But it really depends what the fixtures end up looking like. And I think generally, I'd want to target more the teams not in the FA Cup final, I guess, because there's probably less rotation. But if there's a big enough gap between whoever's playing in 36 and their next game, I'm happy to target whoever, really. Is free hit the best chip around? And any suggestions for a new chip next season? Yeah, new chip next season, not really. Just all the stuff everyone's talked about before. Limitless would be quite nice, just for a bit of a change from free hit. There's not really anything else I particularly care about that I would want. Free hit the best chip? I mean, it's between that and wildcard, obviously. I think in certain circumstances, the free hit can actually be more useful than a wildcard. And I know that sounds stupid, but it can work like that. So for example, Free hit 34 has just done really well, but part of the nice thing about free hitting 34 is it allowed us to get double game weekers for 33, and I appreciate 33 didn't go to plan, but a lot of those players that doubled in 33 also had a chance to double in 36. So it was quite nice to be able to keep those players before and after, whereas with a wildcard, you wouldn't have really been able to do that. Because if you'd wildcarded in 34, you'd have had to limit the amount of players blanking. And if you wildcarded in 35, that means you couldn't have had two separate teams in 33 and 34, if that makes sense. So in situations, especially towards the end of the season, free hit can sometimes be more beneficial than wildcard. But I think for the first half of the season, wildcard's definitely better because you got no blanks and doubles to play around. Limitless is basically just free hit, but with unlimited budget. Most of the time, you don't actually get stuck for budget on free hit because often you're free hitting in a blank and that means teams are missing, and often it's the best teams that are missing and they often have the most expensive players. So actually for FPL, it doesn't usually matter that much. Having a doubling goalkeeper is an easy way to get an extra double without making an extra blanket. Yes, that is why I've got Martinez. That's part of the reason I went for him on wildcard, in case Villa doubled in 36. And because he had Southampton on bench boost in 32. So I'd really like Villa to get a double because I've already got Martinez in place on the bench. And also, he rotates quite nicely with Raya. Basically, it would be Raya for 35, Bournemouth at home. You don't play Raya against Liverpool. Against Liverpool. You get Martinez for the double, hopefully, if there's a double. And then Raya comes back in for Newcastle at home, Southampton away. So I'm actually all right in that regard, but let's wait and see what happens. They might not get a double. What is your advice on winning a mini league when you're 3 points up with 4 weeks left? Teams are very similar and no chips left for both of us. There's not really a lot you can do. Like, you're in the lead, so you probably need to take less risks. Like, they've got to go different, but it's only 3 points. So I wouldn't really overthink it. I would just keep making the decisions the same way you always have. And just let them make the first move, I guess. It's not a big enough gap where you can start blocking. Like if you start making transfers just based on what they've got, I feel like you then potentially get what left behind. I don't think there is much more you can do than what you've already been doing. Went from 3.1 million to 650k in 10 weeks. How high can I go? Maybe top 250k. I don't know what the gap in points is. Maybe top 300k, something like that. You can't be different for the sake of it. Always be safe and captain the best player for that week. Yeah, most of the time. You can go different. Like, I've always said that, right? Don't go different for the sake of it. But what I mean by that is don't just captain someone that's just like, it's just such a punt you don't really believe in it. I think it's okay just to go for a player that's slightly different who's also as good or nearly as good. Like, if you think that everyone's going to go Salah this week, I don't think captaining Marmoush or Mbermo is differential for the sake of it. I think that's a calculated differential, if that makes sense. Would I keep the manager chip? I don't particularly like it. I don't mind it as someone that is quite invested in the game, right? I mean, pretty invested, you can imagine. And stuff like that. So has the time to think and plan for it. But if I'm trying to picture it from FPL's point of view, like, part of the appeal of the game is simplicity, and I think Assistant Manager is just not that simple. Like, everyone watching this stream right now and everyone watching the video back afterwards, a high percentage probably don't agree with that, right? They'd say it is quite simple, but yeah, I've got mates in my group chat that have activated, then they've got to game week 34, realised that half their team is blanking or even more, and then they can't use their free hit because the Assistant Manager is still active. And I know you can just say, well, they should have just read the rules and stuff, but FPL tends to be a bit simpler than that. So I don't know why they had to complicate it so much. Maybe just put it 1 game week. Something like that. 1 week chip. That could work. I have wildcard left. What week is best to use it? I mean, I'd probably be using it this week. Like, you've only got 4 weeks left, so what are you waiting for? I guess. Especially if we get double game week news this week. Potentially, if we get double game week news this week and your team is really well set up for it, and you can get through this week in 36 without too many issues, you could wildcard after the double. So I think for anyone that's got it left, either this week, if your team is in dire need of a wildcard, Or if we get double game week news and your team looks good for 36, then use it in 37 afterwards. That'd probably be it. What game week is your best in terms of points? Mine is the 130, this one. I mean, it might even be this week, 100 points. I don't think I've clocked 100 points that often. Oh no, I got 120. Did I get 120 points? Yeah, I got 120 points. That was a double, wasn't it? Oh yeah, Salah's 58 points on his own. In July, 9-pointer. Absolute legend. Cole Palmer when he got FPL points. Imagine that. Yeah, so I've had... Oh, that was assistant manager, though. Yeah, so I had 120, 112, and then this week 100. So I've gone past 100 points 3 times. So far, there's still 4 weeks left. Imagine if I did it another 4 times. Why didn't we captain Cunha? Yeah, but I mean, Liverpool have just scored 5 goals. Liverpool just scored 5 goals. I don't regret captaining Salah. But fair enough, Cunha absolutely smashed it. I mean, for a very brief period last week, I did consider going against Cunha because I knew he'd be so highly owned. And I'm very glad I didn't do that because I would have gone for Danny Welbeck. If you had saved your free hit for potential double game week 36 and we don't get the doubles, would you free hit in 38 instead? Potentially, if you can make more changes in 38 than you would in 36, then yes. I tweeted about this earlier. I briefly, in the run-up to double game week 33, considered saving my free hit for 36, just in case we got doubles. And the plan would have been to roll in 33, so I wouldn't have bought Saka, who blanked, and I wouldn't have bought Rodgers, who only got like 7 points. So actually, I would have done okay. And then in 34, I would have taken a -4 because I had 7 players, and I would have had 3 transfers. And I would have gone 8 Nuri, Jose Sarr, Cunha, and Mbeumo. So it could have been absolutely epic play, especially if you get loads of doubles in 36. But it doesn't matter. I didn't do that. I did very briefly think about it. And if there's no doubles in 36, obviously I'll be very glad that I didn't hold the free hit. I captained Sessegnon as a differential. Very nice. I swear I'm the only one who got punished by Palmer. Picked Clivert instead, so got 99, not 100. Oh yeah, Palmer 3-pointer, yeah. Got the clean sheet point. So I think Mbeumo and Wood will hurt us on Thursday. Probably. They're both really good picks. Play 2 of Rodgers, Sarr, Mateta. I would probably bench Rodgers of those 3. When would you bench boost? I've got Sells, Aina, Greaves, Bowen on my bench this week. Thinking Aina and Greaves to 8 Nuri and Livramento. 8 Nuri's got Man City away. So I don't think I would bench boost with him this week. And Livramento's not got a great fixture either, right? Livramento has Brighton away, so probably wouldn't. When to bench boost? When you've got the best bench, right? There's only 4 weeks left. Just go and figure out what your bench will look like each week and just pick the best one. I mean, it might be 36 if there's doubles, but again, we'll have to wait and see if they get announced. Is Kivior a rotation risk? I think Kivior is absolutely first choice left centre-back while Gabriel is injured. I'm not convinced, although it's possible, I'm not all that convinced that Calafiori, even if he was fit, would play there. So I think he's fine in that regard. Could Arsenal rotate now the league is over and they've pretty much got Champions League spots wrapped up? Yes. So I can't promise you that Kivior won't get rotated, but I do think he's first choice, if that helps. Arsenal are on 67 points, so they're 5 points ahead of Newcastle, 6 points ahead of City. There's only 4 games left. They're 7 points ahead of 5th place, although Nottingham Forest got a game in hand. So if Forest were to win, they go on 63. So 61 points would be 5th place. So Arsenal would be 6 points ahead of that. Yeah, I don't think... I think Saka could absolutely get rotated for Bournemouth home, but I don't think the likes of Reyes, Saliba, Kivior will get rotated. I think Arteta will want to make sure he secures top 4 or top 5. Am I planning a wildcard 35 draft video? Probably not, but I can maybe put it into final thoughts or something like that, like I did last week for 34. I suspect there's probably not that many people on wildcard this week. Sell one of Savinho or Saka for Mbeumo. So I think Saka could get benched. I'd just sell Savinho, I think. He didn't start today, did he? And I'm kind of out of the loop because I was watching my son play football instead. They drew 2-2. Oh, he scored such a good goal. It should have been 3-2, but he pushed the guy and got a free kick against him. Yeah, absolutely. He lobbed the keeper from like the not the halfway line, like the edge of the box. Absolutely smashed it. Oh, he did start, did he? No, he didn't start. Savinho didn't start. Wait, am I looking? Oh, sorry, I'm looking at the wrong game. Sorry, I'm looking at the Aston Villa game. My bad, my bad. Let me see here. Nottingham Forest. Oh, he did start. Oh, that's pretty annoying. Oh, De Bruyne didn't start. Interesting. Maybe De Bruyne can't play all these games. Maybe it was just a setup for Forest. Oh, I don't know with Savio. Like, you've got Southampton soon for Man City. So if he starts, that great. But if he doesn't, I think I'd rather just keep Saka. The thing to really consider with Saka out is the money it will free up for other moves. Like if, and it's all ifs and buts at this point, if Villa end up getting a double in 36, it would be Bournemouth at home and Spurs at home. Is it both at home? Let me just double check that. I think that's correct. No, sorry, Bournemouth away, Spurs at home. If Villa get that double, then all of a sudden Ollie Watkins becomes a really nice option. Nailed with Rashford out. No need to rotate. And like a lot of people don't have, like if you've got an Isak, it's an easy switch. But if you don't want to sell Isak, then getting to Watkins with money by selling Saka could work. I don't think I can afford it though. Let me have a look. If I do Saka to Mbermo, 2.7 million left. So 8.4 I'd have by selling Evan Nielsen. And Watkins is 8.9. So either way for me, I'm pretty much selling Isak if I want Watkins. But for some of you, selling Saka instead of Savinho, for example, could work. I got rid of Saka for Mbermo, Savio out for De Bruyne. You could do that, yeah. I mean, De Bruyne is not absolutely nailed on, but I think he'll start the majority. We don't know how long Rashford is out for. I think Unai Emery said like some weeks, something like that. I wouldn't be surprised if he misses the season now. But we will have to wait and see. Arsenal have got Liverpool away and Newcastle left to play. They need to be wary. Yeah, there might not be as much rotation as we're thinking for the Bournemouth game, but I do think Saka will be one of them. So at best, there'll be 2 doubles in 36. I think at best, there can be 3 doubles. So Palace because they're through, basically the 2 FA Cup finalists, City and Palace, plus their opponents, and then possibly Villa and Spurs as well because of the Spurs' request to have their game moved. So you could have 6 teams doubling in 36. You could have 0. So again, we will have to wait and see. What happened to Robinson? We don't know. Someone actually, I only saw this after the deadline. Someone actually DM'd me on Instagram. I don't really use Instagram all that much. I post my videos, but I don't check it that much. They DM'd me on Instagram to say that Sessegnon was playing left back. But I only saw it when they replied to my tweet about Sessegnon. So apparently that was known. I don't know if he's got an injury or what. I saw a journalist say that it might have been a knee problem, or that he's like got a knee problem and they wanted to rest him. Some other people saying that his wife was pregnant and having the baby, so maybe that was it. I'm sure he'll be back next week. Forest game versus Chelsea last day of the season will be unreal. Potential shootout. Hopefully, yeah. Hopefully that game has Champions League riding on it. Am I thinking of dropping Palace players given their upcoming fixtures? Do you not think their upcoming fixtures are good? Like, Forest at home, Spurs away, Wolves at home. They seem pretty good to me. That was surprising because Sessegnon would have played right wing. Well, Harry Wilson started, so I don't know if he definitely would have played right wing, but I'm not sure William would have been in the lineup if Robinson was fit, but we'll never know at this point. So for Palace, again, I think especially for an attacker, the fixtures are actually not bad. Like, Forest at home is not amazing, but I'm not worried about it. That's for sure. So let's assume they don't have a double. They don't play until Monday the 5th of May, Forest at home. They play the 11th of May against Spurs away. Then it's the 17th of May for the FA Cup final. And then the Wolves game will have to be moved to after the final, I think. So the Wolves game might be an issue, but for the next two, I think they're fine. I really do. We'll have to wait and see where that Wolves game goes. But it will have to be moved from where it is. Because they're in the final now. De Bruyne to Mbeumo switch. I'd be tempted to keep Mbeumo if you've got it. I'd be tempted to keep De Bruyne. I think Mbeumo probably is better, but I'm not sure I would sell De Bruyne if I already own him. Palmer shouldn't even be an option. I've not even met. You're the one mentioning Palmer. I've not mentioned him. He's not in my team. I haven't mentioned buying him at all. I mean, if I had Palmer, I'd maybe consider keeping him, but as a Chelsea fan, I'm annoyed we have to give Liverpool a guard of honour. Oh yeah, your next game, aren't you? More likely to win because Liverpool's squad are still drunk. I suspect Liverpool will still beat you, but we'll see. He was in your free hit team. He was, yeah. I picked a player with nearly 200 points this season on penalties with a home game. He blanked. It happens. Any news on Haaland's injury? There was a tweet that went out from FPL Main Road saying he's back in training, so maybe Pep will give us some more info later this week. If Haaland's back in training, that maybe makes Marmoush's minutes a little bit weaker and would certainly put me off captaining him. Would you keep Palmer if you had him or switch to De Bruyne? Honestly, I'd be tempted to keep him, but if people want to get rid of him at this point, I completely get it. If you want to switch to De Bruyne, better fixtures, do it, honestly. I think Palmer's getting to the point now where people are just so frustrated with him, it's just going to annoy them if he's just in the team. What do I think is going on with Foden? I really don't know, but honestly, we've been here before so many times with Man City that sometimes players are just out of favour. There might be stuff going on behind the scenes, stuff that Pep is seeing in training. Like, he's not afraid to just leave players out and not give him as many minutes, which is what we've seen in the league recently with him. So I think Sessegnon will keep starting. He's playing really well. I honestly don't know. My gut feeling would be no. Once they get once Harry Wilson's definitely fit, and obviously he played the last game, so he is back fit now. And once Robinson is back, I would suspect Sessegnon's minutes will go down. I certainly wouldn't be buying him. Who would be your selling midfielder player after Saka if no doubles? Probably Palace players closer to 37, 38, because Palace play Liverpool last day of the season. But for the next two game weeks, I've got no concerns about them really at all. I don't think Marmoush necessarily gets benched as soon as Haaland's back, because obviously he can play with him, and he's played well, so I think his minutes will still be good. But Marmoush would definitely be a little bit more susceptible to getting benched if Haaland was back than if Haaland was out. That makes sense. Should I sell Gabriel Munoz before the price drop? Well, I mean, how affected are you going to be by those price drops? If not, just wait. What's the rush to sell Munoz? He's got Forest at home this week. What to do with Salah now that Liverpool have won the title? Keep him. Is Saka also a sell? He definitely could be, yeah. Bournemouth at home, possible rotation, then Liverpool away. With Newcastle close to catching Arsenal. I don't know. I don't know if Arteta will be that worried about not finishing second, to be honest. I think the key thing is to get Champions League places, which is just top 5. I mean, I'm assuming after all this time, he won't be completely happy if they don't finish second, but I'm not sure that's the highest priority. I think the priorities have got to be getting Champions League and trying to win the Champions League, right? That's the top 2. I don't think it really matters about Newcastle. Also, Newcastle are 5 points behind. I think Newcastle would definitely be all eyes on that second place. That would be huge. Second place in Carabao Cup would be an amazing season. I don't know if Arsenal will be as worried, but I don't know for sure. I'm just guessing. Thoughts on Cunha transfer, Mateta out. I don't think you buy Cunha this week. If you were going to buy Cunha, it was 34 for Leicester at home. Now you've missed Leicester at home. He's got City away. If I was buying a forward this week, it'd probably be Visceral Wood, I think. There's nothing wrong with Cunha, by the way. Man City away doesn't feel like the greatest week to buy him. Who would you say is the best triple captain if no more doubles? I mean, if Haaland's back, let's say Haaland gets minutes in 35, which I think is unlikely, but if he did, then all of a sudden he's got Southampton away in 36. Huge differential as well. Otherwise, I'm really not that sure. If there's no more doubles, like maybe in Burma against Ipswich away in 36, Chris Wood at home to Leicester in 36, Salah at home to Palace last day of the season. Game week 37, Jamie Vardy against Ipswich at home. Yeah, Saka versus Southampton 38, not a bad shout. Yeah, if Arsenal beat PSG, they won't care if they come fifth. That's basically what I said. The priorities are just getting Champions League and winning the Champions League. It's not second, fifth, who cares? Do you think Arsenal fans care if they finish fifth and win the Champions League? No. Who would you bench between Sarr and Isak in 35? Probably Sarr. I think Sarr's good for 35, but there's not really many players I would bench for Isak, I don't think. Why is everyone buying in Burma? Am I missing something? Just good fixtures, basically. 90 minutes, penalties, having an amazing season. Doesn't look like letting up anytime soon, although he has overperformed a little bit, so he'll probably drop down at some point. Could be next season. Man United at home, Ipswich away, Fulham at home, Wolves away. Arsenal are not winning the Champions League. Lol. Yeah, they might not, but they could win it as well. Is Rashford a sell? Injured? Yes, probably. But because you've already got him now, you can just wait and see what Unai Emery says. But it does sound like he's going to miss the next couple of game weeks, so he probably is going to be a sell for most people. But just wait until Friday and get an update. I think Saka is done for the season as one of the go-to FPL players. He's not had enough game time since his injury, obviously, to nurse him back. I think Saka's pretty fit right now. I think he showed that against Real Madrid. But for FPL, he's going to get rotated for sure. I would assume, anyway. My front three is Isak, Marmoush, Watkins. Think should probably hold, but Visser Wood tempting me. That seems like a pretty easy hold. I don't mind Isak to Wood in 36 potentially, because Wood's got Leicester at home. But I don't see any reason to move Marmoush on right now. Wolves at home, Southampton away, and Watkins could have a double in 36. Genuine question, would you play bench boost in game week 1 next season if it appeared double game weeks were smaller again? So I actually heard James on, I think his Friday, James from Planet FPL, on his, I think it was his Ash James stream on Friday maybe. And he basically said we should expect the schedule to be pretty similar next season. Unless there's some outside forces that mean there's games postponed, we'll probably have a very similar amount of doubles. In which case, I will be quite tempted to bench boost 1, but the fixtures have to be right, and they have to be the right fixtures for the cheap bench options, and those bench options also have to be good for the next few weeks. I'm not just going to bench boost game week 1 then have to wildcard out of it. I think that's a really not great use of the wildcard. But if it lines up right, like a lot of people will say things like you can't. The lineups are too unpredictable in game week 1, but I don't think that's the case for most players. I think going into game week 1, for 95% of teams, or for 95% of players that we actually want to target, I think we can be pretty confident if they're going to start or not. As long as we don't start with, like, I don't know, like Nkunku's and Barco's maybe. Although Nkunku did start game week 1, he just didn't do very well. We know that Salah will start game week 1 at least. Exactly, there you go. There's one player out of 15. Only problem with bench boost game week 1 is team value. Yeah, again, I think people sometimes get too obsessed about whether you have to do it or not. I'm open to it. That's all I will say. I might get to game week 1. It might be impossible to build a bench boost team, in which case I will simply just not bench boost. Players dominating minutes in their respective friendlies should always start game week 1. Mostly, but not all the time. But yes, that is a good indicator, I would say. Jose Sarr penalty saved. I instantly recalled your call on it beforehand. Oh, it was such a good moment. Favourite moment. That's now top 3 moments this season. I don't know what order I would have them in, but my top 3 moments are holding Bruno Fernandes on wildcard 6 when everyone else went Diaz, and Fernandes didn't really do much the next couple of weeks, but after that, he absolutely smashed it. Like game weeks 10 to 19, something like that, he did really well, and it was a big differential. Triple Arsenal defence was also huge because I got so much stick for not going Saka, and triple Arsenal defence absolutely smashed it. And even as they were smashing it, people were still saying it's a risk. They just got so many clean sheets and attacking returns, and then obviously the penalty saved. Can't wait for Bristol City £4 million defender. I can't believe City might go up. In the set, City might get. They're not in the playoffs yet, are they? But they've got a good chance, I think. We can't have Bristol City go into the Premier League in the same season where Rovers get relegated to League Two. Oh yeah, 67 points. 40. Oh, they got a game in hand over Coventry. God, Bristol City are going to get in the playoffs. Wow. That Sarr save's going to haunt me. Switched out to Pope 5 minutes pre-deadline. For what it's worth, I would have absolutely gone into this game with 3 Newcastle. So if that was your only way to get a third Newcastle, I think you made the right call. It just didn't end up being the right call. They are currently 5th, Bristol City. Am I not tempted by Trossard? Could have gone for Trossard in game week 33. I won't sit here and pretend he was like an obvious option. I even had him last on my list on the final thoughts video. But when we got to the deadline stream, someone actually tweeted me afterwards and said, I picked Trossard because of what you kept saying on the deadline stream about him. I just felt like Trossard was definitely going to start Ipswich. And then Trossard will almost certainly start Bournemouth as well. With Cunha at Man United, you can actually buy Man United players next year. Yeah, Bruno Fernandes. Get straight in my team, please. Who is your FPL player of the season that will go on the wall? Jose Sarr's going on the wall. Will you be aggressive and take hits for rank rise as hits become less valuable later? Will you take hits for Murillo, Wood, Bowen, Visser this or next game week? It depends who you're selling. Like, I hate to kind of use the obvious, but I will take hits to try and rise in rank if that hit is worthwhile. But like, okay, so as an example, would I take a hit to get rid of Marmoush for Chris Wood? No. And I wouldn't take that hit next week either because Marmoush is playing Southampton. Would I take a hit for an injured player to get Bowen in? Possibly. I even told you on livestream Trossard's the one and you agreed. Yeah, the closer we got to the deadline, the more tempting it became. But again, there was like less than a 1% chance I was going to bring him in. Honestly, I'm not going to sit here and pretend I was close to 20-point like glory. These are the fine margins. Like, this is why I'm so glad I had such a good week this week because this season's been a bit of a, I don't want to say a drag because that makes it sound like it's just been terrible, but and I've done some stuff that's gone right, but it's just felt like just such a slog. Like so many decisions where they felt quite close, like not buying Cunha, then not buying Cunha again. He absolutely smashed it. Not having Chris Wood at all. Like just like Bruno Fernandes just not being able to score early on. Even though he had chances, like it just by the way, was this the season? Let me check my game week 1 team. I want to check before I say this. It might have been last season. I'm getting so lost now. Let me check my game week 1 team here. Yeah, I had Eze, didn't I? So this is the season where Eze scored a free kick that was ruled out, but it should have counted. Was that game week 1 or 2? Brentford or West Ham? Like just all those things. And I know everybody can recall where they got unlucky. I get it, but it has felt a bit of a slog trying to get out the ranks this season. Any time I've gone up, I've gone straight back down. I'm just hoping right now it's going to stick. We'll see. 83 points with Burma and bonus left. Nice. Made the best decisions I could. Will you do an in total end of season what we learned after like a YouTube short series? Possibly, but I say this every season. I'm not really sure we learn that much. Like what we tend to learn is go back and buy the players that scored points. And your only way to do that is try and predict who's going to get those points. And that's with like underlying data, fixtures. If you want to use form, use form. It doesn't really change season to season, honestly. I feel like all you can do is try and use info to improve your decision-making process. Yeah, I agree. Seems so difficult to rely on data. My gut instinct usually beats my data I use. Yeah, or you can do both, however you want to do it. But like, it's really hard to actually do. But the sooner you can accept that how you finish is not. I'm not going to say it's completely out of your control because I think that's rubbish, and it's a bit disrespectful to people that always finish high. But like you can spend all the time you want making an FPL decision, and then what happens on the pitch is completely out of your hands. So that's why I find it like really difficult to say what we learn every season. But what did I learn? I should have bought Cunha instead of Raul Jimenez. Like that's not a learning, is it? That's just a decision that went wrong. And in that time, I think Raul Jimenez clocked up more XG as well. Like these things happen. I know people will say that Cunha's more clinical. I don't want to get into a discussion about it right now, but just those little things that go wrong. One mistake to learn from booking in on a wild card. Game week 6 was not the one. I mean, when I look back at game week 6 now, maybe I was too fixated on captaining Salah against Bournemouth at home, I think it was, in game week 5. Because if I hadn't done that, I didn't need to wild card. But at the same time, I can sit here now and say I shouldn't have done that. But what if Salah had got a hat-trick? I'd be thinking, well, wildcard 6 was a really good decision. So that's why I find it hard to take too much away from any particular season. I say every year I say this, I just hope next year I get luckier where I'm doing well early on. It's so much better for the channel. It's great now if I finish top 50k, but it's not as good as being 50k after like 5 or 6 weeks. It's just not. So next year I would just love to have a fast start. Right, I'm going to leave it there. Thank you very much for joining me. If you have enjoyed that stream, found it useful in any way, make sure to give it a like, hit that subscribe button. I'll be back tomorrow with early thoughts and all the usual stuff throughout the season. I'm going to answer this throughout the week, I should say. Last super chat I'm going to answer. Hits like Saka to Bowen, Mateta to Wood, is it worth it? Probably not. Mateta's got Forest at home. I think that's a pretty good fixture. Like Chris Wood's Palace away, I don't get what the rush is to get him this week, to be honest with you. Anyway, give it a like, hit that subscribe button, enjoy the rest of your Sunday, and I will catch you again tomorrow. Thanks for watching.